Did a thrift store explode on you, or is this just a cry for help? I casually cracked open my pre-shaken can of lime soda, sending a sticky geyser exploding across her chest. My squad giggles. Harper's jaw clenches before she turns and flees to the girls' bathroom. So dramatic. I abandon my clique and follow her, sliding the heavy deadbolt shut behind me. Harper is at the sinks. She glares at me. Why can't you just leave me alone? I swear, it's like you're obsessed with me. Unbelievable. I stalk forward and aggressively shove her against the cold tiled wall. She gasps, squeezing her eyes shut. I fight the urge to shake her, and instead, I crash my lips onto hers. It's a desperate, bruising collision. I am instantly engulfed by her scent, vanilla and a hint of cinnamon. It's horribly unbearable to be this close to her. So why do I feel so free doing it? She's frozen for a second. Then her jaw unclenches. Her hands frantically fist into my uniform, pulling me flush against her. She kisses me back with a fiery heat that completely frustrates me. Damn these intrusive thoughts. She tastes like mint and adrenaline. Her soft, muffled whimpers driving me insane. When my lungs beg for air, I rip myself away. I wipe my swollen mouth, glare at her flushed face, obsessed, my voice low and mocking to hide the frantic beating of my heart. Don't flatter yourself, Hayes. I just needed you to shut up. This sick obsession started the second she walked into junior year math class. I hated her guts immediately. I hated the way her bouncy brown hair perfectly framed her face, and I absolutely hated those ridiculously huge doe eyes that looked at the world with so much naive warmth. I hated that she was effortlessly good at everything she touched, but mostly, I hated how fiercely she believed in herself, because I didn't even know who I really was. All I could ever stare at were her soft, pink lips. I told myself I just wanted to kiss her once, just to see what it tasted like. It finally happened after junior prom. I cornered her outside in the dark and crashed my mouth against hers, but instead of pushing me away, she leaned in. When we broke apart, she looked right through my armor and whispered, "I know who you really are, Chloe. You're not actually a bad person." That terrified me so much that I bolted. And ever since that night, my twisted routine began. Once a week, I would ruthlessly bully her in public, just so I could drag her into the shadows. It's sickening how easily the lie slips into my skin. In the blinding fluorescent glare of the cafeteria, I am untouchable. I sit on Jake's lap, twisting a lock of my blonde hair while he drags a heavy, possessive arm around my waist. I smile, I laugh at his terrible jokes, and when Harper walks past our table, I strike. "Nice shoes, Hayes. Did you steal them from a dumpster? Or did your dad finally get a raise at whatever pathetic place he works?" My squad snickers. Harper doesn't look up. Her jaw tightens, and she keeps walking. She doesn't even fight back in public anymore. But behind closed doors, I am the one losing my mind. I spend my free periods hunting her down like it's a goddamn sport. Behind the rusted metal bleachers, tucked into the dim, claustrophobic aisles of the library, or shoved against the peeling paint of the prop room. I corner her in the dark and aggressively feel her. It's a silent, breathless routine. My hands bruise her hips, pulling her flush against my cheer skirt just to breathe in that infuriating mix of cheap vanilla and cinnamon. She fights me at first, every single time, before her hands inevitably twist into my hair, surrendering to this twisted, detestable thing between us. The fragile line I'm walking completely snaps on a random Tuesday. Harper is crouched on the auditorium stage, painting some hideous cardboard foliage for the drama club. I stroll in with Juliet and the rest of my clique, leaning against the front row of the velvet seats. "Careful, Hayes," I sneer, examining my manicured nails. "Try not to get paint on your clothes, though honestly, a stain might actually improve that tragedy of a shirt." She pauses her brushstrokes, but ignores me. Before I can push her further, a guy steps out from the wings. Toby. He's some irritatingly tall nobody from the set crew. "Back off, Chloe," he says, glaring down at me. "Hasn't she had enough of your crap today?" I narrow my eyes. Who does this nobody think he is? I open my mouth to verbally shred him, but Harper stands up and places a gentle hand on his forearm. "It's fine, Toby. Don't waste your breath on her," she says softly. He looks down at her, and his expression softens in a way that sends an ugly, violent jolt straight through my ribcage. "Tell me if you need anything." he murmurs, entirely too close to her face. I'll still see you tonight, right? Yes, Harper replies, flashing him a bright, genuine smile. Tonight? My blood runs freezing cold, then boiling hot. My jaw instantly clenches so hard my teeth ache. I watch Toby walk away, my nails biting into the palms of my hands. I waited exactly 2 minutes. Go get us Diet Cokes, I tell Juliet, waving my hand dismissively. She rolls her eyes, but leads the girls out. The second the heavy auditorium doors click shut, I'm on the stage. I march straight up to Harper and shove her backward. She trips over a paint can, crying out as her spine hits the brick wall of the wings. The brush clatters to the floor. What the heck is your problem? She snaps. Who is he? I grit out, stalking forward until I trap her, slamming my hands flat against the bricks on either side of her head. That's none of your business. She tries to duck under my arm, but I slam my knee forward, caging her completely. I asked you a question, I hiss, my chest heaving against hers. What are you doing with him after school? Are you sleeping with him? She glares at me, her dark eyes defiant and stubbornly silent. It drives me absolutely insane. Answer me, I whisper, leaning in so close my lips brush the shell of her ear. Or I swear to God, Harper, I'll have the entire defensive line wait by his car. We'll see how much he wants to see you tonight when he's choking on his own blood. Her defiance shatters. The color violently drains from her face. No, Chloe, please don't, she begs, her hands frantically flying up to grip my wrists. Her voice is thick with pure panic. Are you out of your mind? We just work the same tutoring job at the community center. That's it. Just a tutoring job. It takes 3 seconds for the roaring in my ears to stop. I stare at her pale, trembling face, her fingers digging desperately into my skin. She is terrified of me. I slowly drop my arms, stepping back just enough to let the cold air hit the space between us. Good, I mutter coldly, smoothing down the pleats of my skirt, as if my heart isn't beating out of my goddamn chest. Keep it that way. Few days later, my hands are tangled in her bouncy brown hair, pressing her down against the dusty velvet seats of the empty auditorium. I'm kissing her senseless, drowning in the intoxicating mix of vanilla and cinnamon, until she suddenly shoves me. Hard. I'm not your secret phase. Either you look at me out there, or you don't get to touch me here. Say it, Chloe. What are we? I freeze. Panic, sharp and icy, claws at my throat. Admit it? Never. You're a delusional freak, I spit venomously, before turning on my heel and bolting into the hallway. The next morning, I expect her to be a shattered mess. Instead, she decides she's done playing my game. Between the second and third period, I see her leaning against the lockers, laughing brightly with Toby. She playfully swats his shoulder, her fingers deliberately lingering on his flannel sleeve. A blinding rage violently erupts in my stomach. She is doing this on purpose. I turn to Jake, letting my bottom lip tremble as I slip into my flawless, fragile cheerleader mask. Jake, that guy, Toby, he was creeping outside the locker room yesterday. He wouldn't stop staring at me. 10 minutes later, the hallway echoes with the sickening thud of a body hitting metal. Jake and his linebackers ruthlessly drive Toby into the lockers. I stand a few feet away, my arms casually crossed over my chest. That's what you get. My victory is instantly shattered. A hand violently clamps down on my wrist. Harper physically drags me away from the crowd, shoving open the door to the girls' bathroom and slamming the deadbolt shut. She is completely broken, her entire body shaking with violent sobs. I can't take this anymore, her voice cracking in a way that makes my chest physically ache. I wish I never had to see your face again. The ugly jealousy flares up again. Over him? Are you seriously crying over some pathetic loser who can't even take a punch? At least being around him doesn't hurt. Everything you do just hurts me, Chloe. Furious, I lunge forward. I grab her by the shoulders and violently shove her against the cold tiled wall. My instinct takes over. I just need to kiss her into submission. I need to force my mouth over hers, swallow her protests, and silence her until she remembers only me. But as I lean in, I freeze. I look at her face. It is red, exhausted, and streaming with heartbroken tears. Her eyes are squeezed shut in agonizing defeat. For the very first time, the sight of Harper crying doesn't make me feel powerful. It pierces me straight through the heart. Crushing guilt of realizing how completely I have broken the girl I secretly love is too heavy to bear. My hands begin to tremble. Dropping my grip in total defeat, I hold back my kiss, turn around, and cowardly run out the door. A week drags by in agonizing slow motion. Maintaining my flawless public image becomes physical torture. When Jake holds my hand in the hallway, his grip feels like a shackle. I smile, I nod, but beneath my pristine cheer uniform, I am suffocating. I am drowning in the heavy, hollow silence of Harper's absence. The final thread snaps on a Thursday night. I return home to a horrific screaming match with my mother. She stands in our immaculate marble-floored foyer, relentlessly tearing into my posture, my slipping grades, and demanding the absolute preservation of the Woolworth family perfection. Her words strike like physical blows. By the time I escape to my car, I am battered, exhausted, and pushed to the absolute brink of my sanity. I don't even remember the drive. I just know that at 1 a.m, I am climbing up the rusted trellis to Harper's second-story bedroom window. When I tap on the glass, she opens it, her dark doe eyes wide and instantly guarded. I crawl over the sill, my hands trembling. This time, I don't aggressively shove her against a wall. I don't try to kiss her into submission to quiet my own demons. Instead, the untouchable Chloe Woolworth completely shatters. I drop to my knees on her carpet and break down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Harper. For Toby, for everything. I'm a monster. I know I am, but please. I blindly reach out, my shaking hands clutching the hem of her oversized t-shirt like a lifeline. Please, don't go out with him. Please, don't leave me. I can't breathe without you. She doesn't say yes. She doesn't explicitly say she forgives me, but the rigid tension in her body slowly melts. Harper sinks to the floor, wrapping her warm arms around my shaking shoulders and pulling me flush against her chest. I bury my face in her neck, breathing in that scent of vanilla and cinnamon, crying until I have absolutely nothing left. That night sparks a terrifying, beautiful new reality. We begin dating in the shadows. The following weeks are a dizzying montage of stolen, perfect moments behind her locked bedroom door. The tension fades into breathless, genuine laughter. I learn the exact spot on her collarbone that makes her shiver. She learns exactly how to touch me to make my mind go entirely blank. We spend our weekends tucked away from the world, wrapped in her cozy blankets, trading soft, breathless kisses until the hours completely blur together. I am no longer just addicted to her scent or the thrill of the secret. I am profoundly, irreversibly in love. Every soft smile she gives me, every time she gently rests her head against my shoulder, my heart beats a violent rhythm. I am more obsessed with Harper Hayes than I ever thought humanly possible. "Why do you always stretch like that?" Harper asked one afternoon, tracing the line of my calf as we lay tangled in her messy sheets. "It's ballet," I muttered, looking away, suddenly ashamed. "I used to dance. My mom forced me to quit in middle school. She said it was a weak, useless distraction from cheerleading and maintaining our image." Harper sat up, her doe eyes soft but fierce. She pushed her desk chair aside and pulled up a classical piano piece on her phone. "Show me, Chloe." "I haven't danced in years, Harper. I can't." "Show me," she whispered, pulling me to my feet. As I moved, trembling at first, then flowing into a desperate, long-forgotten grace, a breathtaking wave of liberation crashed over me. I wasn't a ruthless cheerleader or a perfect Woolworth. I was just free. When the music faded, I collapsed into Harper's arms, breathless and crying. "I can't do this anymore," I choked out, hiding my face in her neck. "I don't want to be her perfect puppet. I don't want to follow my mother's sick rules anymore. I just want this." But the real world caught up quickly. The very next day, Jake grabbed my arm by his locker. "Are you messing around with someone else? Every time I touch you, you flinch, and you never stop staring at that theater loser." My stomach plummeted. Paralyzing fear choked me. "Are you insane, Jake? She's a freak. You're my boyfriend. I'll prove it to you tonight, okay?" The true nightmare was waiting in my foyer when I got home. "Sit down, Chloe," my mother commanded, her voice absolute ice. She casually tossed a thick manila folder onto the mahogany table. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out about your disgusting little phase with the Hayes girl?" My blood ran freezing cold. "Mom, please." "Shut up. You are a Woolworth. You will cut off all contact with her immediately. If you don't, I will make a few calls, fabricate the financial records at her father's firm, and send him to state prison. I will destroy her family, Chloe. Are we clear?" I stared at her, utterly horrified. I knew her political reach. She wasn't bluffing. "Yes," I whispered, the word tearing my throat. I retreated to my pristine, dark bedroom, the walls of my golden cage violently closing in. I collapsed onto the floor, crushed by agonizing despair. In the pitch black, my phone screen illuminated the room. Incoming call. "Harper. I'm sorry." I sobbed the empty room, choking on my own tears. To prove to Jake and to my mother's invisible spies that I was perfectly, flawlessly normal, I committed the ultimate betrayal. Friday's pep rally was deafening. The drama club was ushered to the center of the gymnasium floor to announce their upcoming play. I stood at the front of the cheer squad, my fake smile plastered on, acutely aware of Jake's eyes on me from the bleachers. "Watch this," Juliet whispered maliciously beside me, giving a sharp nod to the girls on the upper balcony. "No," my heart violently seized. "Don't." But I didn't say a single word. I just watched, completely paralyzed by my mother's chilling threats, as 3 massive buckets of bright, foul-smelling yellow mustard rained down directly onto the drama club. The entire gymnasium erupted in vicious, roaring laughter. The theater kids shrieked, slipping on the hardwood, completely humiliated. Harper took the brunt of it. Her clothes, her bouncy brown hair, completely ruined by the thick, degrading sludge. She stood frozen in the center of the court. Slowly, she wiped the mustard from her eyes and looked up. She didn't look at Juliet. She looked directly at me. The raw, devastating heartbreak in her dark eyes shattered my soul. When I chased after her into the empty corridor outside the locker rooms, she was shivering, clutching her ruined shirt. "Harper, please, Don't touch me," she cut me off, stepping back. Her voice was entirely devoid of emotion. It wasn't angry, it was just absolute ice. "You are a coward. You are dead to me, Chloe." She turned her back and walked away without looking back. My chest violently caved in. I knew right then that I had destroyed everything, because Harper had never, ever looked at me with such absolute, terrifying coldness. Without Harper, the silence in my life wasn't just quiet. It was a physical weight violently crushing my chest. The secret meetings behind locked doors evaporated. The breathless kisses that kept my heart beating stopped completely, leaving me shivering in a perpetual agonizing cold. I was going through severe withdrawals, starving for the faint scent of vanilla and cinnamon, entirely hollowed out. My carefully constructed, flawless world didn't just crumble, it rotted from the inside out. My perfect life was nothing but a suffocating prison. Walking down the hallway with Jake became a form of psychological torture. When he wrapped his heavy arm around my waist and leaned in to kiss my cheek, my stomach violently rebelled. I had to rip myself away, sprint to the girls' bathroom, lock myself in a stall, and dry heave over the toilet just to scrub his cloying cologne out of my senses. I was physically ill, drowning inside the pristine, golden cage my mother had locked me in. But the absolute worst part was the ice. I tried to catch Harper's eye during passing periods, just a glance, just a tiny fraction of the warm, forgiving girl who used to let me fall asleep safely in her arms. But when she finally looked at me, there was absolutely nothing. No anger, no tears, just a terrifying, glacial emptiness. "Harper, please, just let me explain," I begged her one afternoon, desperately blocking her path by the stairwell, my voice pathetic and broken. She didn't even blink. She just stared at me with eyes as dead and cold as winter. "Excuse me, you're in my way." She walked past me, ensuring not even a millimeter of our clothing brushed together. It was a physical blow to my ribcage. She really meant it. I was a ghost to her. Sitting alone in my dark, immaculate bedroom, the devastating truth finally consumed me. My mother's approval wasn't worth a lifetime of agonizing misery. I was deeply, irrevocably, and desperately in love with the girl I had just destroyed, and the pain of her absence was slowly killing me. The suffocating walls of the Woolworth estate finally closed in on me that Friday night. I was standing in the center of the immaculate living room, numbly listening to my mother lecture me about maintaining the Woolworth family perfection and the absolute necessity of keeping my distance from that pathetic theater loser. "You will fix this ridiculous situation with Jake. You will not tarnish our reputation with this disgusting little phase, Chloe." The heavy, crushing burden of the lie I'd been carrying for my entire life suddenly became too heavy to hold. Something inside my chest violently snapped. "It's not a phase," I yelled, my voice tearing through the silent, cavernous room. My mother froze, her eyes narrowing into dangerous slits. "Excuse me?" "I said it's not a phase!" I screamed, the tears spilling hot and fast down my cheeks, completely shattering the glass cage I had been trapped inside. "I am gay! I am gay, Mom! And I am madly, hopelessly in love with Harper." The fallout was brutal and immediate. My mother's face twisted into a mask of terrifying rage. She swiped her hand across the table, sending a crystal vase shattering across the marble floor. "You are no daughter of mine," she shrieked, her voice dripping with absolute venom. "You are a sick disgrace. Get out of my house. You are disowned. You have absolutely nothing." She expected me to drop to my knees. She expected me to cower and beg for her forgiveness, her money, and her conditional love, just like I always did. But for the very first time in my life, I didn't. Stripped of my fake perfect life, I didn't feel terrified. I felt completely weightless. I was finally free. "Good," I whispered. I turned my back on the wealth, the social status, and her threats. I walked out the massive oak front doors without looking back, sprinting into the freezing night to find the only person who actually mattered. I find her alone on the dimly lit auditorium stage, silently organizing sheet music. My chest is heaving, my entire body trembling from the adrenaline of my explosive escape. I stumble toward her and completely break down. I lay every single card on the table, stripping away the last remaining pieces of my pride. "My mother knew about us," I choke out, the tears hot and frantic on my face. "She threatened to pull her political strings, to fabricate financial evidence and send your dad to state prison, Harper. You don't know what she's capable of. She is an absolute monster. I was so terrified. I hated myself for what I did to you at the pep rally, but I thought I had to do it to protect your family. I love you. I lean in, desperately seeking the soft, forgiving warmth of her lips, hoping for redemption. But Harper's hands hit my chest, forcefully pushing me away. The rejection is a devastating physical blow. Harper looks at me, her dark doe eyes shining with unshed tears, but her jaw is locked. I understand you were scared, Chloe. I understand your mother is dangerous. But look at yourself. You are so unstable, so trapped in your own chaos. Instead of trusting me, instead of fighting her with me, you made the choice for both of us. You stood there and let them completely humiliate me. You chose to act alone. She takes a painful step back, wrapping her arms around herself. I can't forgive that. The wounds are just too deep. Shattered and violently sobbing, I turn and sprint out the heavy auditorium doors. I burst out of the school and plunge straight into a freezing, torrential downpour. I run blindly through the dark, flooded streets until my legs finally give out. I trip over the wet asphalt and fall incredibly hard into a deep puddle of mud. My pristine clothes are completely ruined. My blonde hair is plastered to my face in filthy, wet strands, and my scraped palms sting intensely. For the very first time in my life, the flawless, untouchable Chloe Woolworth is utterly messy, pathetic, and broken. I don't even try to get up. I just sit in the mud, crying violently into the storm. Suddenly, the freezing rain stops hitting my skin. I look up through my muddy, tear-streaked eyelashes. Harper is standing silently above me, holding a large umbrella to shield me from the downpour. Despite her anger, she couldn't leave me out here. My mom kicked me out. I have absolutely nowhere to go. Seeing her former tormentor so completely defeated, the coldness in Harper's eyes finally cracks. Her heart aches. I can see it in the way her hand trembles as she extends it down to me. I grab it like a lifeline, letting her pull my shivering, filthy frame out of the mud. You can stay with me tonight, but don't mistake this for forgiveness, Chloe. You still have a lot to make up for. The fragile truce between us finally shatters late Sunday night. I'm in the middle of an intense core workout on her bedroom floor, my skin glistening with sweat, wearing nothing but a sports bra and spandex shorts. The door handle clicks. Harper freezes in the doorway, her dark doe eyes going wide as they rake over my body. Her face flushes a deep, furious crimson. Sorry, I didn't know you were, she stammers, immediately turning to flee. But I'm faster. I know exactly the effect I still have on her. I lunge forward, catching her wrist before she can escape. With a smooth, practiced motion, I pull her back inside and seamlessly pin her against the back of the door. The deadbolt clicks shut with a definitive thud. Running away, Hayes? I whisper, leaning in so close my breath ghosts over her cheek. I pull her gently toward me, feeling her heart racing wildly against mine. You know you don't have to. Harper is a blushing, trembling mess, her hands nervously gripping my bare waist. When I finally capture her lips, there is no more fighting, no more ice. The kiss is desperate and aching. We completely surrender to each other, tangling passionately in her messy sheets until the heavy weight of the world completely disappears. It's Monday morning, and the dynamics at Westbridge High are about to shift permanently. I walk through the heavy front double doors, having discarded Jake's suffocating varsity jacket for good. The main hallway is packed. Juliet and the cheer squad are gossiping by the lockers. Jake and his meathead friends are laughing near the water fountains. I don't care. I march straight past all of them, my eyes locked solely on the brunette standing by the trophy case. Harper clutches her worn sketchbook, her breath catching as I approach. I don't hesitate. In front of the shocked cheer squad, the gaping jocks, and the entire staring school, I boldly take Harper's face in my hands and crash my lips onto hers. It's a loud, undeniable, earth-shattering coming out. I don't care about the gasps, the vicious whispers echoing around us, or the terrifying uncertainty of my future. I am ready to face whatever hell comes next, as long as she is by my side. Overwhelmed by my ultimate leap of faith, Harper drops her sketchbook. She throws her arms tightly around my neck, kissing me back with everything she has, finally forgiving me and officially accepting me as hers. But our hard-won peace is incredibly fragile. Miles away, in a cold, pristine study, my mother sits perfectly upright behind her mahogany desk. Her manicured fingers slowly, rhythmically tap against a thick manila folder. Inside are the complete legal and employment records of Harper's father. A dark, calculating smile slowly spreads across her flawless face as she begins to plot her next destructive move.